The middle class is about to get destroyed. The middle class, which is the backbone of society and the engine of the economy, is currently experiencing an unparalleled crisis. Could this be the last time we see it destroyed? We'll talk about the worrying trends that the middle class is facing today. The obstacles are multiplying, ranging from stagnating earnings and increased living expenses to automation and economic policy. There is a sharp increase in inflation, stagnating income, overpriced housing, and a loss of jobs. What can we do about the way we got here? Come along as we explore the factors at work and the implications for the middle class's future. We can't afford to ignore this warning. Remember to like and give us a thumbs up so we can continue regularly uploading videos. Number 3. Democrats. Democrats are doing everything in their power to dismantle the middle class. Without this essential hub that serves as a bastion of democracy, they will gain control of America. America's strength has always been its large middle class, whether in times of peace or war. Millions of poor immigrants have been coming to this country for more than 200 years, aspiring to have the same stability and wealth that this country has always given to the middle class. Its boys drove the biggest economic miracle in history, served in our wars, and upheld domestic law. Democrats see themselves as the inner party and seek a country made up entirely of the proles and the ultra-rich. A law 1984 with nothing in between. A trio of dramas unfolded last week, creating a doomed middle-class Bermuda Triangle. Alvin Bragg, the People's Commissar of Justice and Manhattan District Attorney, accused Marine Corps veteran Daniel Penny of second-degree manslaughter in connection with the chokehold death of Jordan Neely, who was homeless by choice. Mr. Bragg took action after demonstrators blockaded subway stations and cried out for Mr. Penny's blood. Despite having had 44 prior offenses, Neely was a kind person. During one attempt to kidnap a 7-year-old girl, she punched an elderly woman in the face, breaking her nose and shattering her orbital bone. Following the George Floyd riots, several forms of criminal activity proliferated. 2020 saw a 30% rise in violent crime, according to the FBI. Leftist politicians, Antifa boom squads, Black Lives Matter, and prosecutors have banded together to make our streets into combat zones. They want us to stay hidden in our houses, afraid that if we go into cities, we will suffer a terrible fate that will spread to the suburbs and small towns of America. They hope to weaken our trust in the legal system and police to protect us, so we will be vulnerable to political blackmail. In conjunction with the Neely incident, the California Commission recommended that the state provide $200 billion in reparations to any individuals who had a slave hidden away in their family tree. Speculation suggests that Michael Jackson's children may qualify. This ethnic pillage would make the middle class and the predominantly white state poorer. Additionally, it would be another assault on the foundation of middle-class morality, individual merit. The border is the triangle's final point. In April, we apprehended 182,000 people at our southern border. Nearly everyone was allowed to stay. So-called migrants currently occupy half of the hotel rooms in New York City. So far, we have admitted about 2 million immigrants under President Biden's Welcome Mat immigration program. Horrors of mendicants and criminals are bringing the third world to every door, leading to an increase in social spending, taxes, heightened racial tensions, and a wider democratic base. Middle-class murders are taking place near our open borders. Another dramatic event is currently unfolding in Washington. Republicans should lift the debt ceiling without any restrictions, according to Mr. Biden. Republicans in Congress seem to be holding the line. Does it really matter? Currently, the U.S. national debt is around $32 trillion. For each taxpayer, that equates to about $248,000. The president contributed $3.84 trillion, or more than 10% of the overall debt, in his first 2 years in office. I'm more concerned about how deficit spending is raising living expenses than I am about a default. Along with imposing severe restrictions on domestic energy production and mandating that we drive electric cars when a horse and buggy would be more practical, the left is also using the Green New Deal to impoverish us. Other climate change-related measures include banning gas stoves and the coming energy efficiency requirements on appliances. Everything will cost more as a result, including food, gas, and utilities. Gas prices are up 53%, fuel oil prices are up 69%, and electricity costs are up 24% under Mr. Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. When we're not gorging on spooky, crawly creatures, we'll be sitting in our homes, riding bicycles to work, sweating in the summer and freezing in the winter, and eating dog food or hamburger helper. Public schools indoctrinate our children with gender ideology and critical racial theory, akin to vegan frosting on a cake. An FBI whistleblower asserts that the government will label you as an insurrectionist and crush you if you protest. By the time Mr. Biden leaves office, re-election would have reduced the middle class to a bombed-out husk of its former self. But the left needs to be aware that angry middle-class people are the ones who start revolutions, not the aristocracy or the proletariat. Number 2, bank crisis. After reading this, you could be thinking, Tim, I don't give a fudge about banks or all your financial jargon. You're all garbage bankers. Yes, we may be considered garbage, but we were once bankers. But why do you care about all of this? What funds will bail out the banks that fail? Cash. Where will the funding come from? Not taxes. There are already enormous debts in the US that might never be paid off. Thus, they will just produce additional money out of thin air. Is it possible for them to accomplish that? Hell yeah, party people. In the past, we had to physically create $100 bills using the printing press. Now is quite simple. You're going to love it, so pay attention. A central bank employee simply adds additional zeros to their bank account by going to the computer screen. After that, they give money to anyone who requires it. Of course, there's a little more to it than that. They intend it to be a loan, and they might swap bonds for cash instead of using their balance sheet. However, it's not. In reality, it's simply the process of adding zeros to a bank account. Because the value of all money decreases when more money enters the financial system, in 2008, the impact was negligible. The impact is enormous in 2023. The massive months of inflation, which have reached around 10%, are the root cause of the free money phenomenon. The aftermath of free money is evident when you witness record high interest rates that increase more quickly than a teenage boy's sperm after watching Baywatch. Thus, the middle class will become impoverished if the value of money declines. After 15 years of inflation, there comes a time when it significantly affects people's ability to purchase necessities. Number 1, inflation. Inflation significantly impacts the economy with varying effects on different socioeconomic classes. Over the last 4 years, inflation has severely impacted the middle class, drastically altering their standard of living and economic standing. Over the past 4 years, inflation has severely damaged the middle class, reducing their purchasing power, reducing their savings, and driving up the cost of necessities. This pernicious economic phenomenon, where prices grow faster than wages and investments in stocks and bonds lose value when inflation is considered, is making it difficult for many middle-class families to maintain their quality of living. The wide-ranging effects of inflation on the middle class include diminished access to housing, healthcare, and general financial security, among other vital aspects of their lives. This essay will examine how inflation has decimated the middle class, as well as the difficulties and possible ramifications for decision-makers who are trying to solve this urgent problem. I appreciate you looking. For more insights, don't forget to hit the notification bell, like, and subscribe.